Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bev for Real show.
Bev for real, Bev for real. Bev for real, Bev for real. Her name is Bev, she keeps it real. Where her mission is to heal. She always keeps it real. She always keeps it real. Are you ready? Bev for real, Bev for real.
Keep it real.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bev for Real show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, as always, for watching our show every Friday at 7 p.m. Hey, listen, I said it once, let me say it again. If you have not subscribed, please go to our YouTube page, like and subscribe, and continue to follow us. We got great things coming up. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Miss Shannon Williams. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. I appreciate you having me here.
It's awesome to have you here with us today.
It's exciting.
It's very exciting, very exciting. I remember when you pulled in our parking lot and we were preparing for our last show, our
Yes.
last episode,
Mhm.
and we were working with our children. It was such an honor to meet you that day.
Well, thank you.
Tell me a little bit, let's tell the audience who you are and what you do, and let's go from there.
Okay, well, my name is Shannon Edmund Williams.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in the Hopkins area off of Lower Richland Boulevard.
Okay.
My grandmother lived in Franklin Park, which is off Cabin Creek Road, and I graduated from Lower Richland High School, class of '89.
Awesome.
After graduation, I went to college for about a year, and then I ended up coming back home and started working at the Columbia Police Department at the age of 19. And I finished my career as a police sergeant at the City of Columbia Police Department about 5 years ago.
Wow. So you was in the force for how many years?
About 25 years.
Wow. So
Yes.
you left college.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted more.
Well, I didn't graduate from college.
Right.
I ended up leaving early, and I came home, and I started working, and ended up at the City of Columbia, and I started off as a police cadet. So, I used to write tickets,
Okay.
parking tickets downtown, and then at the age of 21, it was like, okay, you can't be a cadet anymore, so what are you gonna do?
Now I have to go there. I'm gonna go there, Miss Shannon. How many times did you get yelled at for writing no tickets and when you got caught?
It was a lot. Those were some good years. We had a lot of fun doing what we were doing. But yeah, they did not like those parking tickets
I
at
know
all.
they didn't. Why park in the wrong place, right? I understand.
Yeah.
So listen, you're running.
I am.
I'm excited.
Thank you.
Tell me how you got started.
Well, after we retired from the Columbia Police Department, my husband and I, we knew that we needed to do more. We've always been involved in community-oriented programs at the City of Columbia.
Okay.
So we always wanted to work just as hard in our community as we did for the City of Columbia.
Okay.
So we started organizing chat and chew forums. So we started having a lot of making sure that kind of what I'm going through, making sure that the community knew the candidate that they were voting for,
Right.
making sure that if they would, keep the integrity that we were accustomed to living to intact in the Lower Richland community.
Okay.
So we started our chat and chew forums, and we did about 9 forums. And then we also did organize and facilitated summer camps for my church, St. John Baptist, under the JUMPS program.
Okay.
And we decided, and then we got involved with the NAACP, and did try to work with the Lower Richland Alumni Foundation on some projects that they were working on.
Okay.
So we always wanted to do just as much for our community as we did when we were working for the City of Columbia. And so there have always been people that encouraged me to run for some type of elected position.
Okay.
And I always resisted, you know. And I finally, you know, looking at some of the data last year, actually in an NAACP meeting, you know, I realized this time, after several people asking me to run for various positions, I felt like I needed to do more.
Okay.
So I had the time, and so kind of stepping out on faith and getting out of that comfort zone that I had created for myself.
Right.
And I felt like I had to do more.
Right.
So that's what leads me to, you know, run for the school board seat.
Right.
And as a police officer, I was an SRO, as well as after a couple of promotions, I started supervising the school resource officers unit. So I was accustomed to the schools in Richland School District 1 because 9 were under my supervision with the SRO program.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Seat 4 is my community.
Okay.
So as I stated, I felt like I should be doing more in my community. And it was a very, very, very difficult decision to make. But it was so many factors. But, you know, one of many is to restore educational excellence back into our community and making sure that all of our children have the opportunity to succeed, all of our children. And so, you know, I went through some things with my child in the school district when she first started kindergarten, and I felt like, you know, I tried to reach out to the administrators and as well as the current commissioner, school board commissioner, and it wasn't, you know, it wasn't working. But I felt as if, again, every child deserves educational excellence.
Absolutely.
So that's that was one of my motivations.
Okay.
But there were several. Let's
talk about that a little bit.
We can
You
do
know?
so much more.
Right. Let's talk about that. You know, you said on that part where you felt like you wasn't being heard.
That's right.
That's the key.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I speak about that as well. It's so important that we listen.
Yes.
It's time for change.
It is.
It's time for change. So, Miss Shannon, tell me, what was the episode, or what was it that really pushed you over? You mentioned your daughter going through some things with her at the school. What exactly, without having to go too deep into your personal life, but what exactly happened that caused you to say, you know what, I'm going to run because I want to make a difference?
Beverly, there were a lot of factors that went into this decision to run for the school board seat 4. And one issue was, you know, to restore educational excellence back into our community. So, you know, there's a narrative that, oh, my child doesn't go to school here, and so therefore I'm not worthy of running for the seat. But my child started off at the school in our community, and there was a shortage of teachers. And I knew that my child had to be in a structured environment. So we didn't just decide, oh, well, she's not gonna go. No, it's like, well, let's try to find a solution to this issue. So we talked to the administrators, and that's why I said we really have to support our schools.
Right.
And I talked to our current school board commissioner about the issues that I was facing in school. And you know, after 2 years, we didn't just walk away. We tried to make it work and tried to make it better. And so that was one of the decisions, you know, one of the issues that I had that went into my decision-making process. And I know that's the case for a lot of parents in our community. And we want our children to be in the community that we live in, because a lot of us,
Absolutely.
most of us down here, we grew up down here,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to make sure that our children experience that same lifestyle, that same educational experience that we experienced, that we were a part of.
Mm-hmm.
So it was difficult, but wasn't that, I felt as if my child was too good to go to school in the community that I live in.
Right.
It was because the school at the time wasn't meeting the needs, which was having a teacher in the classroom.
Wow.
That's what it was about,
Right.
not having a teacher in the classroom.
Right.
So you have teachers that are doing the best that they can.
Mm-hmm.
You have administrators that's doing the absolute best that they can.
Mm-hmm.
And they are doing good jobs.
Right.
It's up to the leadership to make sure that they have all the resources that they need to properly educate our children.
Right.
And you can't educate without teachers in the classroom.
That's right. That's right.
And so, those are some of the things that, I will honestly say bother me a little bit, because they don't know,
Mm-hmm.
my experience.
Right.
But I didn't just walk away.
Right.
I tried to fix, not just for my child, but for
Mhm.
everybody else's kid as well.
Right.
Who knows if the next Barack Obama or Kamala Harris was sitting in that classroom.
That's right. That's
so
right.
we have to make sure that we not only fight for our children,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to make sure that we're advocates for other children as well, everybody
Absolutely.
else's child.
All children.
So, those are some of the things. And, like I said, it's just, I know what this community has,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a lot of greatness here.
Absolutely.
And so we need to make sure that is, that's seen in our, when somebody goes to Zillow
Mm-hmm.
and they look at the test scores, or they look
Right.
at the ranking of our schools.
Mm-hmm.
We want them to feel comfortable coming into our community. We want them to be a part of our
That's right.
community. We want, when someone Googles us or goes to South Carolina Department of Education and look at our school report cards,
Mm-hmm.
we want those report cards to say excellent.
That's right.
You
Oh,
know,
I love that.
That's what we want
Mhm.
for our community as a whole.
Absolutely.
And so that's why those were some of the facts. And there have been so many people that have asked me to run for school board since I retired, because I
Mhm.
worked in the schools
Mhm.
when I was a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And my family members, my church members, a lot of people, my
Mhm.
opponent, so, and that's because they know the job that I
Mhm.
can do. They know that I'm capable of doing what I say
Mhm.
that I'm going to do. It's going to take time,
Right.
and I cannot do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take us uniting.
Absolutely.
That's why I say, voting for me, that's just half of the battle, because we got
Right.
work to do.
Absolutely.
And everybody it has to give a little bit.
There you go. There you
So,
go.
So those are some of the things, but it was difficult. It was very, very, it was a very difficult decision to make,
Mm-hmm.
to run for seat 4. And I ran for seat 4 because this is my community, and
Mhm.
I felt as if my community needed me.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. Question for you. The classrooms,
Mhm.
the teachers, you speak a lot about supporting the teachers. As we know, some of the classrooms have an overload of children, more children than really one teacher probably can handle.
Mhm.
If you're elected, do you think that that's a possibility that we can fix that to be able to help the teachers
Oh gosh.
by
yeah.
putting more aides in some of these classrooms?
Yeah, we had in Richland School District 1, we had one of the largest deficits of teachers when we came back to school.
Right.
We were I think originally it was 160, 170, but
Mhm.
now it's down to maybe 60-ish. But the problem is even the 60 number was higher than other districts surrounding us. So we got to figure out why
Mm-hmm.
teachers are not coming into our district and why they're not staying.
Mm.
So that's the first thing we have to do. We have got to, stop the bleeding when it comes down to losing our teachers, because we're losing too
Mhm.
many good teachers.
That is true.
So, then we have to make sure that we get in and we have, we're recruiting,
Mhm.
teachers to come into our area.
Mhm.
And then we have to, and then we can start reducing the sizes of our classrooms.
Right.
But we have to have teachers in order to reduce those sizes.
Mm.
And then of course aides, like teachers, that's important.
Absolutely.
Having those resources available to teachers.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's a lot that
Mhm.
goes into education. Is not as simple as, you know,
That's
people
right.
think, but we just have to make sure that we're working together.
Mhm.
We understand the needs of the teachers, of the educators,
Mhm.
and we do that by bringing them to the table
That's right. And hearing their voices.
and hearing their voice. Every educator has to have a voice. It's the
Absolutely.
only way that we can affect real change in education.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Miss Shannon, on break, we had a phenomenal conversation. Let's talk about the education in the schools. Tell me what your thoughts are right now. And if you're elected, what changes you want to make, or what changes do you see?
when I think about education, as I stated before, Lower Richland has all of the components, all of the ingredients for excellence. So I feel as if we have to first look at the data, and we have to be honest about what the data really means.
Okay.
All right. And we have to make sure that just like we're celebrating our successes, that we acknowledge our deficiencies. That's the only way that we can get better.
Right.
I know this is a very prideful community because I am
a part of
I am a part of it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I understand that, and I'm a very, very prideful woman. So we have to really be honest about what that data means.
Okay.
And how it is affecting our children.
Okay.
So I understand the frustration with me making a decision, because it was a difficult decision to, talk about and to put the data out there,
right.
send the data to our community. So we have to, like I said, we have to make sure that we're honest about it. And some of the things that I would do if I were to be elected, I would look at our budget. We've already talked about teachers, supporting our teachers, making sure that they have the resources available. I would look at our budget. We have a very, very large budget for our district. I would take some of the money that we're spending on programs that's benefiting a very small few.
Okay.
I would take that money and I would invest that money in our early childhood education. It is very important to make sure that our children are reading proficiently before they get into third grade.
Absolutely.
Because they're tested in third grade.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And if we believe some of the research that's done, which I do, like if the children aren't reading proficiently at on third grade level, they're building prisons based on that data.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay? So I feel as a retired law enforcement officer, I feel like that pipeline from preschool to prison is real.
It is real.
So we have to address that and invest in early childhood education. I would bring our educators to the table.
Right.
Not an educator. I would be a policymaker.
Right.
So we need to make sure that our policies are allowing our educators to educate our children.
Oh, wow. That's phenomenal. Let's talk about that policy thing. Let's talk about that. Because I do, I'm not, like you said, I'm not in the school, but I'm on the outside looking in. There are policies that need to be changed. Tell me which one you feel that need to be focused on to make some adjustment so it can help all.
Testing testing is something that's something that, you can't solely fix it on the school board level.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why it's important to have relationships with your legislators. So
Right.
we can focus on how to allow the teachers to educate our children and not teach for tests.
Right.
So that's one of the major concerns
Mm-hmm.
that I face as a parent, and I know is very frustrating to our teachers.
Right.
So
Right.
so it's things like that, making sure that, like I said, investing in the early childhood,
Mhm.
allowing teachers to be creative in their space. Teachers are some of the most creative people in the world.
Yes.
Allow them that creative space
Right.
to move our children forward. I may not learn the same way you learn,
Mm-hmm.
but our children, our teachers recognize how their children learn.
Absolutely.
They know.
Absolutely.
So allow them to have a seat at the table.
Mm-hmm.
Advisory boards.
Mm-hmm.
When I remember, it was Deacon Joey Brown to me because he went to my church.
Mm-hmm.
But having people from the community create these advisory boards so we can know what are some of the needs.
Mm-hmm.
What Gaston? What are some of your needs? Eastover,
Mhm.
Hopkins. How do we come together and focus on the issues, and not just focus on them, but create a pathway
Mm-hmm.
to addressing those issues.
Mm-hmm.
With the community's input. We have so many retired educators in this
Yes.
community.
Yes.
Retired.
Right here in Gaston.
Yes.
Right here.
Yeah, and not just educators. We have retired businessmen and
Mhm.
women.
Absolutely.
We have faith-based leaders that want to be a part of the process.
Right.
So there are people that are willing to come and sit at the table and try to figure out how do we move us from below average in a lot of our schools,
Mm-hmm.
not to
Yes.
average, but to the level of excellence.
Come on now.
We can do it.
We can do that.
It's not impossible,
That's right.
but we have to just be honest with what this data represents. As a police officer, and I've heard this from my opponent and some other people, generally don't do well testing. So tests aren't everything, and the
Mhm.
scores aren't everything. But those things matter.
It does.
That's how you measure how our
Mhm.
children are moving forward in the
Mhm.
educational system.
I agree.
As a police officer, when I went for promotion, I had to take tests.
That's right.
All right. Annual qualifications. I had to be tested with my
Mhm.
firearm.
Mm-hmm.
I had to be tested driving, with my vehicle.
Right.
I had to go through recertification to make sure that I'm abreast to the laws, the changes in the laws.
Mm-hmm.
So testing is a part of life.
Testing is everything.
Testing is everything.
Everything.
So let's stop focusing on the excuses
Mm-hmm.
as to why we're not doing better.
Right.
Let's try to figure out how we can do better. Let's
Right.
get some solutions there.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things, like I said, those are the things that matter. And I just think that if we really focus, a lot of people always come ready for a fight.
Right.
But
Right.
sometimes it just takes us focusing.
That's it. That's
you
it.
just gotta focus.
That's it.
Yeah.
I have one question for you because I don't understand the system today. I don't understand why they took out cursive out of school. I mean, we have to sign documents. The reading part is very important because you need to read and be able to read everything that you sign.
Let me tell you.
If you're elected, I want to hear two things from you. If you're elected, what would you do to help bring this back? And tell me how you're feeling right now with it not being in the school district.
I do think that it is a disadvantage to our children.
Mhm.
So prior law enforcement, I think about the Constitution,
Mm-hmm.
your rights.
Right.
What is it written in? Written cursive.
Cursive.
So if you don't know how to read and write in cursive,
Mm-hmm.
how are you ever going to know your constitutional rights?
Come on.
All right. So it is important for us to bring that back.
Absolutely.
And we can bring it back into the
Mhm.
schools. And I think some schools, and I don't quote me, Alyssa, and probably too late for that, but I think some of the schools are starting to introduce it back into their curriculum. But I do think it's important. I do think it's
Absolutely.
very important
Absolutely.
on so many levels.
Absolutely. Now, I can tell you from what I know, some schools are bringing it back, but it's not in our county. We need to do more for the Lower Richland.
Yeah.
There's so much education going all around us. You know, what big difference can you make for our county, for Lower Richland?
I think that with everything that I do, excellence is always that's always my goal,
Absolutely.
is to achieve excellence. I know that we're not perfect people, and I know that there are going to be some challenges. But I think with everything that we do, we should always focus on excellence. And so that's what I bring to the table. That's what I want. That's what I would like to see in our community. It's going to be difficult, you know, but I think that we can make the turn. We can turn the tide. I really feel as if we can. As I stated before, we have all the ingredients. We have excellent teachers. We have great students. We have supportive parents. We just got to start putting it all together.
Absolutely.
That's it. And just striving for excellence. I think that I think that that's where, you know, that's how we can move the needle forward.
Absolutely.
That's how we can progress.
Absolutely. We'll be right back. And welcome back. So, Miss Shannon, we were talking on our break, we were talking about challenges. What are some of the challenges that you're finding that you're facing in your campaign at this time?
I would say people not knowing who I am and what I represent. Integrity as a police officer was everything.
Okay.
And your career is based on integrity. And, you know, you have to live your life you know, based on a level of integrity. And those things matter to me. And so I think to have my character and my integrity attacked that's been the most difficult part of the campaign. I was a police officer for 25 years, so I I came in contact with a lot of people. And so I worked in a bipartisan way, you know, because I had to represent the white and the black, the rich and the poor. So I've always been in a bipartisan, so to say, position. So I think that has been what has been the most difficult part for me. And making sure that if we are fortunate enough to win this thing, that people trust my leadership.
That's right.
That's really important to me because, you know, in order for me to, you know, effectively lead, I have to have the trust from my people, and they have to have, and it goes both ways. So, you know, making sure that we can unite, and I talk about this a lot, uniting in our community. And that was one of the things that concerned me most about making a decision to run for this for the seat, is making sure that it didn't tear our community apart. And we have, you know, there's been things done that aren't right. If something happens with someone that is supporting me, it's important for me to address it and address it publicly and let people know that that's not my position. You know, so I think that it's just important for us to make sure that, you know, while we are vying for these positions, we understand that we're still civil servants. Our job is to serve and not be served. So we have to make sure that our focus is on the community, is on the people, is on our children. So.
Wow, that's great. That's great. And it's something because you'll find that. You'll find that people will come at you when you're trying to do positive things, when all you want is good for your community. And I definitely understand, and I can relate to that. That's it's something. So in the midst of this campaign, if you were to win this race, tell me the first thing that you want to do.
Whew, give me a good night's sleep.
I'm sure.
Sorry, that's gonna be the first thing
I
do.
understand.
So the first official act, I guess I would like to take. I would like to have town hall meetings. I really do.
Mhm.
I want to know what the people are feeling. You know,
Okay.
where do they feel we can improve, and what is it that they like and they want to see more of.
Mhm.
So not just focusing on the things that may not be beneficial to us at the time right now,
Okay.
but what is it that we love about this community and we want everybody to know.
Right.
So but that's what I want to hear. I want to
Okay.
hear that from our community, and I want our community to be proud of where we are. Because we're very proud, very, very proud people.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure that we can unite.
Okay.
And I know I say that a lot, and it sounds so redundant, but it's just so important to moving us forward.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I want to do. The first thing I want to do is hear from the people. I want to
Mhm.
know, what is it that you want? And I tell everybody, voting for me is only half of the battle, because it's your job, your responsibility.
Right.
You're obligated to make sure that you
Mhm.
hold me accountable.
That's right.
So and that's why we have to communicate.
Mhm.
Everybody has to communicate with each
Right.
other, because if I don't know what I'm doing, I don't want to hear 4 years from now.
Right.
Well, you didn't do something. So, well, no, you told me that.
Right.
You never
We didn't
expressed
know
those
that.
concerns.
Mhm.
So I just think that those are the kind of things that's important, and not beating people down,
Mhm.
but just showing people, this is where we can improve.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And I think that's a great statement that you just made, because it's so important. We need to come back together
Yeah.
as one.
Yes.
And especially for our children's
Yes.
sake. Our children look up to us.
That's right. That's right.
All the training starts within,
That's right.
at the homes, So we need to, the teaching today is so different
Mhm.
from when we were growing up.
That's right.
So I'm hearing from parents,
Mhm.
they don't understand what the kids are bringing home for them.
That's right. It's difficult.
It's difficult for the parents to sit down to help our children with their homeworks.
That's right.
What do you think in the system that we can do, possibly, to help the parents to understand what their children are bringing home?
Oh, that called, that parents have to try to make time, and we need to try to schedule times that's convenient for them.
Right.
If they have questions, like little workshops, maybe workshops coming
Perfect.
to
Absolutely.
coming to the schools and offering these workshops. Because
Mhm.
things are like in the Lower Richland community, there are a lot of parents and homes that's
Mhm.
without broadband.
Right.
These are issues that we have to work on, and that's just
Absolutely.
not on the school board level,
Mhm.
but we have to collaborate with our other elected officials in
Mhm.
getting the job done.
Right.
And I think that, again, accountability. Our constituents and our community members have to make sure, what are you all doing as elected officials
Mhm.
to make sure that we have the resources that we need
Okay.
in a time of crisis.
Mhm.
So, that comes back to that accountability piece.
Right.
And we should be working together as elected officials to make sure that our community is
Mhm.
sound and we have the things that we need.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I think that's a great thing to be brought to the forefront.
Mhm.
Parents, we do need the training.
Mhm.
All my kids,
I
I'm
do.
blessed, are grown,
Mhm.
but because I have my after school program, which is WADA, Women Against Teen Abuse, I do have the students that come in that do have the homework, that we don't understand. We'll do the best that we can to help them. But even for programs, the after school programs,
I need to do it, Cheryl.
what can we do for the after school programs that have a center?
That's what I was about
To
to say.
educate.
There are so many churches in this community. There are so many centers in this
Mhm.
community. There are so many places for that parent who works
Mhm.
and 4 to 11 or 3 to 11, and they just realistically don't have the time
Right.
to come in and help their children with homework. That's why we have to have safe havens around here. You know, we used to have the Cobons when I was in the city of Columbia.
Okay.
All right, and those were safe havens where people could, with the children, could come after school and get their homework done.
Right.
We took them on trips.
Mhm.
We spent time with them and helped them, you know, kind of move through life, you know. So sometimes parents are doing all they can sometimes, you know, and it's just still not enough.
That's right.
And that's why it's important for everyone who can do more to do more.
Right.
That's why I'm taking this big step,
Right.
because I feel like I can do more. And we should all, you know, even if it's, you know, seeing a kid in Food Line, which my husband says is my favorite place to be. Hey, good job. You know, you're doing a good job.
They need the kudos.
Exactly.
They do.
Or the flip side of that is, hey, I see what you're doing. You better stop. It goes both ways.
Right.
You know, so I think that, you know, we have enough areas in this community. And as I stated before, we have so many retired teachers and educators down here and just homemakers whose children have moved on now. They're grown. Or, you know, kids that want to just give back. My daughter, she's 24 and she tutors. You know, she started a little tutoring program.
Right.
So those are things. There are people in this community that want to do more. We just have to make sure that we set it up and we make it easy for them to come in and do the extra work that needs to be done.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
So there's more that we can do. I think to make things better in our community,
especially if we have the budget. Let's make it happen.
Right. We have the budget. We have the budget.
We have the budget. We have the places, facilities. I have a facility.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I have children that comes into the facility, and we need the help.
That's right.
We need the help because we want to continue the education. With my program that I have, again, WATA, Women Against Teen Abuse, I have it through the summer. Yeah. During the summer, we educate.
Yeah, exactly.
We still teach in the summer.
Yeah.
Listen, and I think we're the only facility.
Yeah, we did our summer camp, Back to Basics. And so I asked teachers that they taught at my baby's school, can you please come and help? Because that summer slide is huge. It's an issue for us. And so to lose so much knowledge that you gain, you know, throughout the school. These are babies. These kids,
absolutely,
they want to run, they want to play. But we had such a good time in our summer camps. And you know, we had the first year, our focus was on Black history. And then the next year, our next year we focused on economics. So, and we had them do projects. And there was this girl, we called her Juicy, but there was a young lady who would come and she artistically put a performance together with everything that they learned. Awesome. And it was awesome. It was awesome. Right. So those are the kinds of things that we can do, making sure that, you know, our children have places to go. They have activities. We have so many kids in this area that's so talented.
Yes.
You know, we got some real singers down here.
We do.
We got kids that can dance. We have
draw, paint. Oh my goodness.
Poetry.
Yes.
You know,
drama.
Yes. So you know, we just need to make sure that we're creating, we have the space.
Absolutely.
That we're giving our children the space to be as creative as they want to be.
Absolutely. You know? I think I just sitting here, just meeting you for the first time, I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah. I really feel what you're saying. And I can feel that it's pure. I feel that you're sincere. If you had the opportunity to tell this community something big that's like really within your heart that you want them to know, what would that be?
That I care deeply for my community. You know, it's one thing to love, it's one thing to like, but when you care deeply for something, I do think that that's on a whole nother level. And so I care deeply, not just wanting my children to succeed, but I want all of our children to succeed.
Mhm.
I want all of our children to feel, one thing in looking at some of the stats, I noticed that like a lot of the children, majority of the children,
Mhm.
they love going to school.
Mhm.
So one thing about us in this community, everybody loves this community. So sometimes we get to fight over who loves it the most.
Right.
All right. But I care deeply,
Right.
and I want everyone to do good. And I want every child to succeed. And I know, when we talk about some of the things that I want to see happen, I'm not saying that they're not happening.
Mhm.
I'm just saying I just want it to be all inclusive. I want
Right.
everyone to know what's going on. I want everyone to be involved.
Right.
One thing that I remember about this community is like we're happy people.
Mhm.
And that's one thing that I've always taken with me is
Right.
the happiness
Mhm.
and the joy that this community, has afforded me
Mhm.
in my life.
Mhm.
So I want to give back, and I want to do it in a meaningful and measurable way.
Mhm.
Some passion is, it's great having passion, but you have to be able to effectively achieve your goals. And so I feel like I know I'm an effective leader,
Mhm.
and I know that we can accomplish the things that we all want to see happen in our
Mhm.
community.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to be talked about being below average.
Right.
We don't want that.
Right.
We don't.
Right.
We're going to stop accepting that.
Mhm.
We're not a poor community.
That's
We're
right.
not an impoverished. We are rich in spirit.
Mhm.
We are rich in personalities.
Yes.
We are rich in talent. We are rich in education.
Mm.
This is a very, very, very rich community.
It is.
And we need to embrace that richness
Absolutely.
and bring it back to the forefront.
Mhm.
And that's what I want this community to know. I'm not an outsider
Mhm.
coming in to take over.
Right.
This is me. This community is me.
And this is your home.
This is my home.
That's
I'm
right.
Shannon Edmund Williams.
That's
I grew
right.
up right here
Right here.
in Lower Richland. So, those are some of the things that I just want this community to know about me. And it doesn't matter, if we're fortunate enough to win this thing. It doesn't matter at the end of the day whether you voted for me or not,
Mhm.
because I'm trying to work for all the people.
That's it.
I'm trying to be here for everyone
That's right.
and make sure everyone's needs are met to the best of my ability.
Mhm. There
So,
are changes. There are needs here.
It's time for a change.
It's time for change.
It's time for a change. And that's not to say that, people have done great jobs, a wonderful job.
Mhm.
They have given of themselves. They love this community. They're passionate. They're advocates for our children.
Mhm.
And I would never discredit their service.
Right.
It's just time for a new voice and a new vision.
Mhm.
It's time for change. It's time for us to elevate ourselves to the next level.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of work that's been done,
Mhm.
but there's so much more to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we know that all cannot be done in one term.
Nope.
It's a process.
It's a process.
Because there was a lot of things broken
Mhm.
in the process
Mhm.
that we need to fix now.
That's right.
We'll be right back.
The Bev For Real Talk Show would like to thank the following sponsors. If you would like to become a sponsor or have your commercial aired during the show, please email bevforrealshow@gmail.com or call 929-286-3513.
But I would like to give a very special thank you to my husband, Andre, and my daughters, Madison and Bailey. They have been absolutely awesome, and they have been so instrumental in helping us realize this vision that we have for our community. So I'm so thankful that they are in my corner, and I couldn't do this without you.
Welcome back. Miss Shannon, we're coming to an end. We're coming to a closing. I thank you once again for coming on and sharing with all our viewers the changes, what you're feeling, how you grew up in this community of Richland. You know, we're coming to the end. What I want you to do is look directly into the camera. Tell the viewers what you want them to know at the end of our segment.
Well, to C4 constituents, I'm asking you to vote for me on November 3rd, and some of you have already voted now. I'm asking you to vote for me for a new voice and a new vision for the Lower Richland community. I'm asking you to vote for me because it's time for change. I'm asking you to give me your vote because we can achieve excellence in our community, in our schools. Our children deserve more. I'm not a politician. I'm a parent who's concerned. I'm a community member who knows that we can do better. And I ask for your vote and I ask for your support. But that's just half the battle. We have work to do. And I ask you to come on this journey with me so we can get the work done. We can do it together, but we have to unite. So that's what I ask for the Lower Richland to do, the Lower Richland community to do.
Miss Shannon, I thank you. That was beautiful, and I hope that you succeed. I wish you nothing but the best on your journey. As I always say at every end of the Bev for Real show, be true to yourself by keeping it real, for real, and we'll see you on the next episode.
The Bev For Real Show is produced by Vice Productions.